Hello, Clever Baker. I have this order of cookies for a client and their Grey's Anatomy theme for a birthday. So I'm doing a combination of piped, printed, piped, molded, piped, yeah, several techniques. But I wanted to give you a quick show of some of the techniques that I'm doing. One of them is a doctor's shirt scrubs. And it's going to be, as I say, the Grey's Anatomy theme. So I have all the bases done. And I'm going to put a stethoscope on one and a pocket on these shirts. Then I'm going to put a heart rate monitor line. I'm not quite sure that the heartbeat line on the cookie, on the red one. And I have to fix one. So I'll show you what I'm going to do to fix that. And we'll see if it works. If not, I'll scrape it off and start again. Yay. Fine. So first thing I'm going to do is, and then I'm going to write on something and pipe on something as well to show you a mixed media of printed, if you print on cookies, and piped techniques. Oh, I did it again. It's sideways. Nuts. I forgot. All right. Well, we'll just do it like this. That's fine. Oh, God, I hate when I do that. I forgot. Okay. So we got a doctor's shirt and I have some teal. Look at that. Very close to the color and it's darker and that was on purpose. This is a combination of modeling chocolate and fondant that my client wanted. Not a whole lot of royal icing because they know it hardens and they don't particularly like that. So this client asked for a softer base, which, you can't really do royal icing softer. It will never crust. So I do a combination of modeling chocolate and tropical fondant on the base. And then I add the details, which is great if you want to cut corners of course, you can add flavoring to it. And it's another way to get depth of flavor to your cookie. The client wanted vanilla. So this is really nice. And the base is already done. So this is one way of assuring that your dimension will stay on top of a cookie. What does that mean? So of course we need a little pocket. We need a stethoscope. And I have black for the stethoscope and gray, which I'm going to paint silver, because there's not that many, so I do hand paint a few details. So I'm going to put the little pocket on here and the stethoscope, but I'm putting that in royal icing. So yes, it is crunchier than the modeling chocolate and tropical fondant base, but it allows me to add dimension to it, and I'll show you. This particular one is also modeling chocolate, tropical fondant mixed together base and printed with my Eddie, Primera Eddie's printer. Now, well, I'll get to this, but I'm going to pipe some details on this for later. And then this is the centerpiece cookie for the set for Mackenzie, and it's all printed. So another way, if you have a printer that you can print directly on your food, is that it acts as a base. Instead of using a projector, you can pipe dimension on here with this. I'm going to pipe the red heart with red royal icing, and then I'm going to pipe Mackenzie's name. I may pipe happy birthday because I'm not entirely happy how this ghosted a little bit, but it's really small. So I'm using couplers and tips because I need to change between all my cookies 24 different dimensions. So it's easier, instead of just using a bag that you'd have to rebag it every time you need another size tip on your tipless bags. So I find it's easier just to lop a bunch off, squeeze all this down, lop it off, stick it into another bag, which will help because they're stiff. Your seams won't pop. Pop it into another bag with a coupler and a tip because you can always change the tip between sizes. That's my preference. You do you. I just don't want to waste a lot of bags. And that is what I'm used to because we didn't really have disposable bags and we used these nylon bags forever with buttercream as well. So I'm gonna put this aside. I don't want to break her, but I'm gonna get started on this one. So what do you do to double bag? You can put this in a disposable bag with a tip, or if you have these are Wilton, you can see how old it is. It still works. Another reason to double bag when it's really stiff royal icing is because it provides resistance and your seams won't pop. So if you put this in another bag that's disposable, try not to line up your seams because if one gives way, they both could give way. So turn your bag, pop it into another one, and then line up your seam at a different place. You don't have to worry about these with the vinyl. You do have to wash these, but they're dishwasherable. But it will help you if they do pop and you're not sure when they're going to pop. It's a lovely surprise. Sarcasm. When they do pop. So if you double bag it when you have really thick royal icing as I do, you'll be assured that it will not go all over your pretty cookies. Scissors. So I just squeezed down a bunch. I'm just going to get cracking. I'm just taking off it's like 1.5 inches. You don't have to take that much, but if you do not snip off enough, then it's going to end up, the tip of the bag is going to end up poking out the other end. That defeats the purpose of the tip. So I want to make sure that I get enough off so that I can pop it in without it coming out the other end. Now I'll take this off so you can see where it's coming out. As long as it's inside the bag and not past the tip, that's fine. You can see it in there, way down in there. So that's fine. And you just push it up and eventually it'll start. So you pop your tip on and your ring, nut, I guess it's called. Yeah, don't over twist it too much. You only want it snug because you pop it in, tighten it, but not super tight, just snug. And then make sure you twist this and close it just to get it out of the way. That's all you want to do. You can put a clip on it, a rubber band, whatever you got. And I'm going to try and keep it out of the way of the camera because I'm coming from above, which is a little bit difficult. And again, I'm sorry for the long skinny view, but if I turn it now, it's going to be sideways, so I don't want to do that because I forgot along with everything else. All right, so it's some semblance. No, it isn't. I want to try and trap this end because that's really annoying, but I don't want to cut it. All right, so I have to twist it one more time. I'm fighting with stuff today for some reason. All right, so I'm going to do I'm going to get a marker. I'll get a green one. I'm going to do a pocket. Now, it's a breast pocket-ish, and it's kind of a weird shape. You can put wherever you like. You can even have pens sticking out, but pretty sure they have pens. They can never find a pen like me. So it's just roughly like that, right? And this is going to be really stiff, so I'm going to have to play with it, which is another tip I want to show you. Because it's not going to be entirely smooth, because my icing needs to be fairly stiff because I'm using it for a bead border. Now, if you like this, you could just leave it just like that, which I'm not mad at, which is kind of neat. It's different, but I want to fill it in, so I'm just going to go through and fill it. Now, because this is super stiff, you want to go in some semblance of order. Now, going to do the stethoscope. Let's see if it'll come through. This is a really small tip, and this is black. So I want to sort of line it out a bit because some people put them down because they kind of hang. But as long as you get the fork and then the two little dots I'm going to make with the gray, and it will be covered, and then you just sort of come around. I actually don't know how long it is. So, and then you have my brush is not working with me today. And then you have the little circle at the bottom, which is the part you put on the chest. These are the ear parts. I am not a nurse, so I never was. I do not know the names. Again, free-handed, I'm not that worried about it. These are, technically speaking, the accessory cookies. They're not the main event. I have other ones that I'll show you are the main event, so I hope you can see that. Now I'm just doing, that should have been silver. Doing the tubing, whatever it's called. Clean off your brush, excuse me, your tip often, because with the smaller tips, and this is an Ateco one, I do not like the Wilton one because they tend to curl when it's too small, and I do not want it to curl. So this is really stiff. I'm not going to do the end bit, and you can see I came off my guide. But that's fine because I'm going to add a little fork here. Because I think technically they have, some of them I've seen, they have sort of a Y-junction. Now, I have no tip for this one. So I'm just going to cut a really, really small hole off of the cookie. And let's see what we get. Nice. Now, I'm going to take this off. Goodness for boo-boo sticks. Let's see if you can see this better. Now I'm just making the silver end that goes onto the listening part of the, wherever you put it to listen, that you want to listen to. I guess it's just for lungs and heart. Uses just, oh, I guess bowels. Lovely. Hope nobody's eating. And I want to make a circle. My tip is, I don't really like tipless bags because you cannot get a manufactured circle like you can with a tip, metal tip. Oh, well, I did it now, so that's fine. I'm not rebagging it. And I'm going to paint them anyway. So now we have a stethoscope, and we're going to let this dry. But you can see this is not circular, so I need to cut it some more. But I'm not too worried about it. It's a super small detail, and yes, it looks nice, but it's a tiny detail. I just don't spend the time worrying about it. Now, other things that I do worry about is this particular one that I printed on my Eddie. So this printed, and while the skyline is fine, this lettering is great. So what I can do is use this as a guide and then add the red as well to take the distract off of the sort of cloudiness of this bar particularly is not my favorite. I mean, far away it looks okay, but I know it's there. Anyway, so if I don't like it, I can take it off. So you can use this as a guide and you can go ahead and pipe over words that you print just like you would a projector, but this has been done for you. Now, I don't always do this. Sometimes, if I have the time, I design it in my program. And this is going to be too thick, and this is an Ateco one, and I don't like it already. So I already know this is going to run together. I'm going to show you. One of my pet peeves is font that I can't read, that's fine if other people do it, but if it's something I'm doing, I have to be able to read it, unless the client is particular that that's what they want, right? So, okay, this is gonna work. Because my icing is stiff enough, I don't, oops, as I say that, it runs together. Now, I need to move this over. It's not disastrous that the O is touching the M, because when it dries, I can run my scribe through and separate them. So that's fine, and that's the only O. So let's proceed. So the thing is, I have 4 of these in this set. So unless you're going to be markedly different, and unless that's the style you're going for, you should probably do them the same. Yeah, this is super small. I'll have to knock that off. When it dries, I go, oh, another thing that you may have noticed, I go backwards because number one, when I pipe really fine detail, I go backwards so that I don't scrunch my hand into the previous work. So I go backwards from right to left, like Arabic writers, because I don't want to make a mess and I want to be able to see where I'm going. That's just what I'm used to. So when I pipe fine detail, I tend to use my left hand for piping. Sometimes I use my right. I also sometimes pipe upside down. If there's a weird angle and I forgot something and I need to add it, I will go back and pipe it upside down. Like if I had the G-R-E-Y and I forgot the S or whatever, some detail, I do it upside down. Because I have this guide already printed, I don't have to worry about it. Now, if you had a projector, that would be a little bit harder. I have a projector. I've had a projector for a while. I don't really use it much. It's kind of a pain to pull it out to use it, quite honestly. But if you like them, they do produce really beautiful work. It's just not my preference. So I hope you can see this as I'm piping. My camera is as close as possible. And this is a really small bag for me. My big man hands. So if I don't pull this off, this lettering off from, you know, get rid of it, then I'll do the whole thing like this. But if I pull it off, then I'll go to a smaller tip because I'm not exactly happy with that. Again, it's your preference. Do you. Nobody can tell you it's right or wrong. That's your style. There. This one is done. Oh, the red. Now, the red could be problematic. But let's see what she's doing. See what kind of tip I have. Yeah, that's not going to work because it's fairly loose. But first I'll go back and do that one. Put the little red line on the bottom. But I want to do, without having to fuss with it, I don't need to worry about it for this. Actually, I don't want to do the heart first because, like, the reason I pipe from right to left is I also pipe from from top to bottom. That way I can keep my hand out of what's going on down here unless I do it upside down. I can't really do this cursive writing upside down because there's a lot of loops. This is the only time I will go the right way, left to right, or I should say the correct way, the typical way, piping left to right because there's a lot of loops. And when you go backwards, that's all fine and well, but your loops will come out different. For instance, if I went backwards, the I wouldn't go into the loop. Excuse me, the I wouldn't loop into the E. The E would be there, and then I'd have trouble starting this one, getting this underneath to sit underneath the E to hide it. So this loop of the Z would be a little hard to continue from the end, and there would be a lot of stops and starts, and I don't really want that. So that's the only time that I will go from left to right. And this is going to be too thick. I already know that, so I'm not even going to start it. So I need to get, like, this is an Ateco 1, and it's bigger than Wilton 1. So I would go down to an Ateco, what is this, 261? Is smaller than an Ateco 1. Don't ask me why. It's a tiny bit smaller. And then PME 1.5 is even smaller yet. I do like PME tips because they are super rounded. They never curl on me. And you can get a PME 1, which is even smaller than a 1.5. And see, look how tiny that is. And then a 00. It is, I don't know who it makes it. I think it's a Ateco, but PME 00 is even smaller yet. That's the smallest one I have. I do not need anything smaller than that. If I do, I've done it wrong. I should print it bigger because that's super small detail, and I can't think of anything offhand. I need something that small, except a super tiny, maybe a mini, but I don't think I'd use one. I'd use a PME 1. So I think I'm going to go down to a PME 1 for this. And the reason I'm not worried about piping on top of printed underneath, and I could do this happy as well because this is a little smudgy, is when you pipe something and get it smaller because you have some tight areas in here, it looks like it has a shadow to it automatically. So that's an advantage of typing over something that's written, or you do your guidelines with your edible marker and a projector. Use a smaller tip and it looks like it has dimension, but shadows. It's kind of dimensional, but it's shadows. So I'm going to go down to a, what is this already? I forgot. PME 1 for my black so that I can do some of this. But this red is what I was going to get at, and I'm not going to do that yet for the heart. So what else do I have that I want to show you? Something else I don't have done is the heart rate monitor. And again, this is kind of a gray, but it is silver. I mixed some silver from Evil Cake Genius. It's a royal icing mix, but I use it as a stiffener for if my royal icing is too loose. Then I get the sparkle, then I get the color, and I don't have to worry about adding too much powdered sugar. So what am I doing here? This is a heart rate monitor. So this, to me, has no rhyme or reason. So I'm just going to use this so you can see it. Now, you'll also see I have some nicks in my base. Well, what are we going to do about those? I'm going to cover them up. So I'm going to go across here, go down, up. I guess this is heartbeat. Now you want to get them relatively straight across. You can be wavy, but try not to. I don't actually know what it means to go across. And I have another line here, so I'm going to go with it. And I want to try and hit this little dent here. Make it look, it's kind of like mountains to me. But you don't want a flat line. So I'm going to just finish it across. So I'm putting my cookie that way so I can get fairly vertical. And just finish it off that way. And this is just, again, a rough estimate. You can do this. All of them are going to be different because I'm going to freehand it, right? So this one, again, I'm just going, I could cut my bag bigger, but I don't want to. Because it's so silver and shiny, I may not even paint it white. I may paint it silver because silver is unexpected. And I don't want it to be too Valentine's. So at every corner, stop. So you get a nice sharp line. And that's it. Ta-da. Now it could be a little thicker, but I like it like this. It's nice and delicate. And again, these are the accessory cookies. Let's put on some red. Now I'm gonna turn this upside down. This is a fairly big hole. This could end badly. But I'm not gonna go outside of the line because that's white and this is red and it will stain. I have to be really careful because I don't want it to go flat. So I'm going to let this dry a little before I fill it so that it doesn't run or smear or become less thick. Because I want it a little poofy. You already see this is running together, so I'm going to stop there. Let this crust over a bit. This hole is really too big. So if I didn't like it, then take a little spatula or boo-boo stick and take it off. But I'm going to fix this when it dries more. Create the, I don't know, what is it, Cupid's bow or just the V part of the heart. And then I'm going to fill it in and make it nice. So, or I could cut this, put it into another bag with a coupler and a tip, and then keep going. So the smaller the tip opening, the more constricted the loose royal icing will flow. Therefore, you don't have to rebag it, add some sugar to it to make it stiffer. Just put in, that's why I like to work with couplers, put a smaller tip opening in it, like this PME 1, in a double bag, because you can always take the bag out and actually you can share between the other colors. Just make sure you squeeze it out before you start working with another color, and work with your lightest to darkest. Then you don't have to clean out the bag in between colors. So those are a few cheats, shortcuts. Let's call them shortcuts. If you make a boo-boo, then you're like, ooh, what can I do to fix that? I hope these are helpful to think about something to fix. Decorating on cookies, you can do this for buttercream as well. I'm just working on cookies, so I thought it would be fun to do something a little bit different. And that's it. Have a wonderful rest of your week, and I'll see you next week. Bye.